Good afternoon and happy Monday, everyone. We are here, Sean and Lindsay, crossing the aisle on WIAB. And listen, I'm going to tell you, if you're watching or if you're listening, you need to stay tuned because we have like some really big deal news coming up in the second half of the show. I think y'all all knew I was finally going to win Sean over, and he's become a conspiracy theorist. And we're going to tell you all about it.
I don't know about that. I won't go that far, but yeah, it's interesting. We learned a lot in Boston this weekend. By the way, we were in Boston for the whole weekend, and we were talking to local folks about the Karen Reed trial, which has kind of captivated the whole nation. And we've got some interesting takes on that from the mainly bartenders who we've met a lot of those. We've met a lot of bartenders in Boston. Everybody likes to drink in Boston. There's a bunch of Irish folks
that Lindsay, which I didn't know that.
Lindsay didn't realize that. Yeah,
I didn't know that Bostonians were a lot of people were Irish and
the Irish notoriously like to drink a lot. So
yeah,
they have a lot of bars everywhere.
I didn't see any leprechauns though.
No, you did. The one old Irish man did ask me if you thought he was supposed to be a leprechaun. That was funny.
I thought that's what the Irish were. Right?
Yeah,
little leprechauns.
But we've got some interesting stuff today. There's a Rankin County zoning controversy, which seems to have gotten resolved this morning. I watched the.
Did you watch it?
I did. I was able to tune into it, and then later we'll talk about Trump goes full AI over the weekend, causing a little stir as appearing to be the Pope in a Instagram or True Social post, and then on Sunday, which I thought was funny, he was a Jedi. You know, the lightsaber.
May the fourth be with you.
I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
So. And happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo. Well, I don't know. Do you think if you're from Mexico today, like you might not be celebrating because that's what like ICE is waiting at all the restaurants?
Do you think Trump is going to make an AI image of himself as a Mexican, like being deported?
That would be fun. Or just well, actually, before we got on the show, I saw the Trump administration's offering illegal immigrants $1,000 to leave the country. I don't know how operatively that'll work, or if they like leave the country and they're like, "Psych, like we're not giving you the money." But that's what.
But why would you even do that? Why would you even have? If they're here illegally, why would you even need to give them any money? That makes no sense.
I just saw an update about it. I haven't had a chance to dive into it, but yeah, apparently they're offering $1,000 per legal immigrant to leave.
Wow.
So that's the way they're trying to make them go.
Interesting.
But I don't know how that works. Like, do you go pick up your check and they deport you, or what happens? I don't know. Voluntarily turn yourself in, and you get the $1,000. So
that's wild.
Who knows? But yeah, he did create two images, one being the Pope, and then the Jedi, which I thought was really cool. He was actually like a really built Jedi too.
Of course he was.
Was a really built Jedi. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then, of course, as we just said, we've got the Karen Reed trial updates from your local Bostonians who told us all about.
We heard some things from behind the scenes, things that we had not heard before, and they all kind of have the same opinion.
Yeah, and
very interesting.
What we found out, and we'll get into it, is how interesting how different parts of the country you think are going to be so different, but there's so many similarities from Boston and what their local residents say about certain government entities and what we say about ours, and it just kind of goes all over the place. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But
and as always, if you want to call in and talk to us or have any questions, comments, concerns, you can call here to the WIB phone line. And that number is 601-879-0002. We love to hear from you guys.
And anyway, so the Rankin County Board of Supervisors, Lindsay, passed an ordinance a few weeks ago, was it?
Yeah.
I think regarding there was a zoning ordinance regarding the age of mobile homes. Is that right? You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. And so we saw this happen in Tate County a couple years ago. Okay. And what's so strange to me is who is behind this that's kind of pushing this agenda county to county is what I want to know. That's the bigger question, in my opinion.
Well, can you explain to the audience what exactly it is, though?
So it's basically if you have a mobile home, right? It was mobile homes, and they are more than 7 years old.
Yeah.
Then they would have to be moved to a certain part of Rankin County, or they had to move out of a certain part of Rankin County. Am I correct on that?
I don't think that's. I thought
I might be wrong.
What I read about it was that you could not have a mobile home on certain lands that was older than 7 years.
Is it the land that had to be okay?
And I think it was with the use permit. And I'm not a zoning property lawyer, so I'm kind of.
But all land's older than 7 years.
No, the mobile home.
Yeah.
Could not be older than 7 years.
Right. And if it was, they had to what did they have to do? Get rid of it?
Well, I don't know if they had to get rid of it. I'm not really clear about that. I think what it creates is a problem if somebody wants to sell the land. Like, say they want to sell the land, and then the person they're selling to can't have a mobile home at that age, or if they leave that mobile home there, or whatever it works. It was a property rights issue, I think, is what the crux of it is. I'm not, but yes, it
was government overreach on people's property.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not clear, and somebody may call in and explain this to me. I'm not clear whether they could tell you to get rid of your mobile home that was over 7 years if it was already there. I think maybe like in the future that was the problem, as far as I understand it. But I don't know. This is me just
I don't
reading this.
know. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
there were a lot of people who were upset because it was going to affect them because they had.
Well, it would
you know,
affect their
one of
ability to
those-
sell property or even just to put what they want on their property. Let's say you want to buy a 20-year-old mobile home. Why shouldn't you be able to do that?
Because you own the
It's
land.
It's your land. Yeah. I mean,
let's see. We've got somebody calling in.
Yeah.
Let's see. WIB, you're on the air. Okay, can you turn your radio down or roll your window up?
Hey, how y'all?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I was just calling about the Rankin County ordinance.
Yeah.
And best that I understand it, there was an overlay district within the northern tip of the Rankin County where they did not allow any mobile homes, period. New, 7 years old or older, without special permission. You had to basically go before the board of supervisors and say, hey, I want to put a brand new mobile home. I actually called up there, give them my address, and sure enough, they said, okay, you can't move a mobile home to this address because you're in that overlay district.
Even though that's your property that you own.
Yeah. And in other parts of the county, you could not move a mobile home within the county if it was 8 years old or 7 years old or newer. You mean you could, if it was older than 7 years old, you can forget it.
Was that any land? Was that
lies is if I buy a brand new mobile home and put it on my property, in 8 years it's going to be, to where I can't move it within the county because I don't want nobody to buy it from me because I can't sell it.
Okay.
And
that's what I thought was
that. Yeah. Parts of the provision where you couldn't break your land down more than 5 acres. Well, if you have 10 acres and you have 3 kids, well, you couldn't equally divide your kids' land between your kids.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then it went into structures. Couldn't build a porch, a barn dominium, just all different types of stuff. And I'm glad it was repealed and rescinded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy with that.
So it was gonna create an issue. Like I think you were saying, that was my understanding, that the value of your property would decrease because you couldn't sell it with a mobile home that was more than 7 years old.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get off and let y'all hash it out.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's part. He explained it pretty well what was going on. So I think that was part of it. It wasn't. I don't think you had to move your old home. It just in the future, this is what would have, and then you couldn't put them in certain places, and just restricting landowners' rights. Which I mean, I think when I read it initially, I was like, "This is ridiculous. Why would they do this?" But I think it seemed to me that most likely the intent was obviously future suburban developments. I mean, the Rankin County's growing quite a bit, and the less mobile homes, they're thinking, okay, well, property value more.
So this wouldn't affect people that already have mobile homes on their land?
If they wanted to sell the land with the home on it, I believe.
But they weren't going to make them move their
as far as I don't think they were planning on doing that. I don't think they were saying you got to get rid of your mobile home that's over 7 years old that's currently there. I think if you wanted to transfer ownership of the property, that's when it would have been an issue. Okay. And you couldn't put another mobile home that was older than 7 years.
Okay.
We couldn't. So that was it. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they were saying, hey, everybody's got to buy a new home. I don't think that was, as far as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but as far as I understand it, that wasn't it. So, gotcha. I mean, but still, it's an issue. It's certainly an issue with the whole thing. And it's restricting, somebody's property rights, what they can do. And, I think it's different than like a restricted covenant where a homeowner association says you need to cut your grass. Okay. Well, that's a different situation, but like this is, it's my land. I want to put a mobile home on it. Like I should be able to do that. Like, why can't I do that?
I already have an issue with HOAs telling people what kind of fence they can put up, or, if they can, or if they can't. They're paying the mortgage, it's their house. And what even if you own the house outright, the HOA still, and there are HOAs in Madison that do this, they still get to make those decisions and they can tell no. But I own this.
Well, my difference with that is when you go buy a house in a subdivision with an HOA and with a restricted covenant, you already know these are what can happen. So you're going in there buying it for that purpose. Like if you have land already when you bought it that didn't have this zoning restriction on it that you didn't know about, and now they're changing the rules on you, I think that's an issue.
Yeah, well, so I was married. My husband passed away. We had a house. The house was solely in his name, and I went and put a fence up. I had kids, dogs, after he had passed away. Now, the house wasn't in my name. I didn't sign any covenants. I didn't know. Yeah. And then they held some kind of meeting to make me tear down my fence.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's absurd.
Well, I mean, it sounds absurd but when you your husband, when he bought the house,
Well, he knew,
about,
but I mean,
he
how?
knew.
Yeah, I
He
had
knew
no
about
idea.
those restrictions. That's why, like in where I live in Bellhaven, there isn't one of the oldest neighborhoods in Jackson, so there isn't those kind of covenants. That's why you see wacky stuff. There's a historical society and certain rules there, but in terms of like some people like don't ever cut their grass, and that annoys all the rest of us. Well, my neighbors get annoyed with me because
I was about to say, your neighbors
I
get
have
annoyed
a
with you.
yard person, but they don't think that I do, like, I'm not out in the yard every day because I hate yard work. But anyway, so that's the difference. But so here was like, hey, I already own the land. And now their supervisor saying, we're going to change the rules on you, what you can do with your
Right.
property. And that's just wrong. And there was, if everybody saw this weekend, there was massive public outrage about that.
Well,
So
I want to say this about that.
Mhm.
We live in America, and we are a government for the people, by the people. And it is the people's responsibility to hold their government officials accountable. You have to be paying attention to what's going on. That's our job as an American citizen, in my opinion. You have to be paying attention. If you're not paying attention and you're not getting involved and you don't even know who represents you, you don't have ever formed a relationship with that person, ever spoken to that person, this is what's going to happen. Things are going to happen. And then after the fact, you're going to find out and you're going to be furious.
Yeah, I mean, and also that there was another point of this too, is how the public wasn't notified. Well, they were, and this is a separate issue. I think it needs to be fixed. So they put an ad or something in the local, whatever the news. I don't even know what the newspaper in Rankin County is,
I don't
the Rankin
either.
Register or something like that, whatever it is. But the point was, like, nobody reads a newspaper anymore. Nobody just the print newspaper. That's a relic of the past. And so, like, if you put this on, a Facebook group or something like that, people would have seen it. Just like they did eventually. But here, like, you're just like, okay, I'm complying by the rules by putting in the print newspaper that literally nobody reads except people that are 90. Like, that's
Right.
not, and that's what some of the citizens are complaining about, which rightfully so, because that's not, to me, proper notice. The so they all went, kind of went nuts this weekend. I could get it. I get their outrage because I'm with them. I agree with them.
Yeah, I mean, they felt like it was government overreach.
But then, there was a couple of supervisors, two in particular, put out public apologies yesterday.
That were eerily similar.
Yeah, they were similar. It looks like, yeah, they were a little similar, but I'll tell you this one thing, like, and this is just a personal note, so I'm biased here. I know Brad Calhoun very well, known him for like over 30 years, and his dad and my dad were business partners, and my uncle, and so, I just go way back. The reason we're in Mississippi is because of the Calhouns. They're good people. I think he probably just, I think it was probably, I would call it innocent, just knowing him. Like, I don't think it was something.
I mean, they had to have talked about it. I mean, there's no way for it to be that similar. And that's great if they did talk about it and say, hey, our constituents have come to us. And I respect both of them for apologizing in the first place and then doing what they did this morning. Obviously, I think that, the people were already so angry.
Yeah.
And then they saw that and it made them feel like there was just, discussion and that this is what they were going to do together. But also, y'all, we've got to step it back when it comes to, we got to do things the right way. When it comes to being upset with someone in office about the decisions they make, you can't threaten their families.
No.
You can't make harassment phone calls. You've got to be the bigger person and go about things the right way. That's ridiculous. I know they're an elected official and the decisions they make affect you, but let's not resort to that kind of stuff. That just makes everything that much worse.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot, some of that is what I'm hearing, kind of back channel. But I like that the politicians, at least two of them that I know of, said, hey, you know what? We were wrong. Like, how many times do politicians do that? Like, sometimes they don't care how mad people get. They just say, well, we're doing it anyway. I mean, there's a lot of examples of that. Like, people just get mad like this. But I say at least, Brad and Sid Scarborough said maybe their statements were the same or they coordinated. That's fine. I don't care. They both did what I think was a responsible thing to do and say, hey, we messed up. We apologize.
Something we don't see from politicians.
We don't see that. I mean, so like whether you think if they, I'm talking about you, I'm talking about like the public, you think that they coordinate, at least they had the balls
and
to
they
just
did
say
what they needed
wrong.
to do to make it right.
Yeah, and they did.
Fix it.
So a lot of I commend those guys for that. Saying, hey, we saw the public does not like this. We are public servants and we are going to change our way and do it.
Yeah.
And they did. So in that way, I think that's great. But
absolutely. Well, we're up against our first break, but y'all let us know what you think. If you have any comments on this issue, or if you live in Rankin County and this took you by surprise, if you were at the meeting this morning and you want to share with us, 601-879-002 here on WIB 103.9. Stay with us. We will be right back. 601-879-002 here on WIB 103.9. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB. Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit AmericansForProsperity.org. Be a part of positive change at AmericansForProsperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420. MyPureAirConsultants.com.
I'm Sean Yurtkaran, and I've spent nearly 20 years in the courtroom. First as a prosecutor in Hinds County, now fighting for my clients as a defense attorney. I know how the system works, and I know how to protect your rights. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call me at 601-862-1320 or visit me at onetextlaw.com. That's onetextlaw.com. Serious cases need serious defense. And remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Let's get to work.
At Carter Jewelers, we're having our spring clearance sale store-wide, where our sale prices are untouchable with extreme discounts up to 70% off and more. In addition to the best clearance prices ever, Carter Jewelers has also got the biggest and most beautiful selection of fine jewelry in the region, including all fine diamond, gold, platinum, loose diamonds, and even our estate jewelry is all included in Carter Jewelers' store-wide clearance sale. Now through Mother's Day, you will win extra discounts off clearance prices with Carter Jewelers' annual balloon pop. Pop a balloon, and every balloon will have a discount voucher of up to 30% off. Come see us at Carter Jewelers with interest-free and no credit check financing. Trade-ins are welcome. Downtown Jackson since 1849 on the corner of State and High Street and the Pemberton Plaza in Vicksburg. Sale ends Saturday, Mother's Day Eve at 6 p.m.
Hi there, it's Lori from the mailroom. Of course you know we offer shipping with UPS, FedEx, DHL, and the Postal Service. But did you know about all the other services we offer? We have stamps, envelopes, boxes, wrapping paper, greeting cards, and gift bags. We also offer gift wrapping. You can drop off your gifts, and we will have them wrapped and ready to go. Come check us out. We are south of Germantown High School, north of Gluckstadt Road at 272 Calhoun Station Parkway, Suite C, mailroomgluckstadt.com.
Men, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you could be suffering from low testosterone. Do you have low sex drive? ED, always tired, depressed, loss of muscle mass, obese, loss of focus and drive? You, my friends, need to get your numbers checked. Check out Men's Health of Mississippi, located in Madison, Mississippi, and online at menshealthms.com. Guys, get your numbers checked today. Trust me, she'll thank you for it. I promise. menshealthms.com. Men's Health of Mississippi.
Hey everybody, it's John at Two Gun Tactical. We're having Kim Wade Wednesdays at both locations. So you come in and mention Kim Wade on a Wednesday, you get half price range fees. Hey, if you're a member, we're going to give you an extra free target just for mentioning Kim Wade show. Come on in and work on your shooting and exercise that 2A right that if we don't fight for it, we won't have it much longer. It's twoguntactical.com. That's the number 2, guntactical.com.
Come together.
Welcome back into Crossing the Aisle with Sean and Lindsay, where politics meets passion, literally.
There we go. Anyway, well, I think we've hashed out the whole Rankin County things. I think it's got resolved. It got rescinded.
It did. It got resolved, and then they said that they are working on new policy on how they're going to be more transparent, have meetings where people can see them, have, I guess, an agenda where people are able to find it, view it, know what's going on. And then, but the citizens have to do it. They have to be involved. They have to be looking. They have to care. If they don't, this is what happens.
So, I think, this is kind of good example to what you were. You always tell me this. You're always like about how people need to be involved in the issues, and sometimes like you think certain things don't affect you, and a lot of things don't. A lot of things are just fluff or whatever. But this directly impacted a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and the only way it got resolved is because they
They
did
showed
something.
up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They use their voices. There's power in numbers, and when you use your voice.
Well, I think also, we talk about so many of the negatives of social media, which I think there's tons and tons of negatives, and we always discuss that. But sometimes there's positive things.
Yeah.
Which it allows people to organize a lot easier. Because without social media, this would have just been word of mouth. It wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have been able to organize this as quickly and stop it. So
Right. Of course, and then there's meetings that people work, they can't attend. So social media allows people to be able to view what's going on in those meetings as well.
Yeah, so it's a positive thing for that. So I'm glad the supervisors changed their vote. I'm glad the people got out there and spoke, and I think it's good for Rankin County. So
absolutely, and maybe moving forward, people will be more involved.
Yep, that's it. So, well, we got a more fun topic. Is the president has created AI version images himself, and one of them, I think, specifically created a lot of controversy.
Well, he's the new pope. I thought I saw the orange smoke.
The orange, yeah. There's a meme out there with orange smoke. If y'all don't know, they I guess they have, was it white smoke when they have a pope?
Look, I'm not Catholic, and I don't claim to know anything about the Catholic faith or the Catholic Church.
President Trump did an AI photo of him in like papal outfit with the hat and everything. The Pope hat, I don't even know what it's called. And that caused a little stir amongst Catholics this weekend.
I mean, it might have been a little disrespectful considering the Pope did just die, which, as you all know, I am not a fan of the Pope. Him dying didn't bother me one bit, but I think he was way too radical and liberal, and he should read the Bible. And
right,
I'm fine without him being around anymore. But I do think that probably rubbed a lot of Catholics the wrong way.
Yeah, I think it did. Lindsay,
he's such a troll.
You and I talk about this all the time. Part of me is like, okay, sees it and says, man, I can't believe he did that. But the part of me laughs. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to laugh.
Guy.
I mean,
it's
funny.
Guy.
I wish people could just recognize we always jump to we're offended immediately. And you look, yeah, I guess it is offensive. I give you that. But he's also being funny. Now, I guess now the argument would be to that, should the president of the United States be that funny? I mean, I kind of like that about him. I like that portion about him, that he's kind of comical.
And from what we understand, this really is him that's posting
this.
This is not like someone posting for him. You were telling me you heard a story the other day that someone called and was shocked that he actually answered. He's like, hey, it's not, you know.
Well, there's this interview last week, if you read it from the Atlantic, and they were trying to, I guess,
I don't read the Atlantic.
Well, no, I mean, I read everything. But they'd had scheduled an interview, then it got canceled, and finally Trump, like, they called him on the phone, like the reporters did, and like he answered. He's at the golf club and he's like, who is this? And I just thought that was funny. Like, the president of the United States is answering his own cell phone to random numbers that he doesn't know, and like, say, who is this? This is Donald. What's up? And he does
on the
that,
golf course,
which I thought actually was kind of cool that he like answers the phone like that. Anyway,
I mean, last week we saw him put hats in his Trump store that say Trump 2028.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really planning on running for president. I think he knows he can't do that. I just think he likes to troll people, and he's funny.
Yeah, I think that's, it was pretty funny. Now, I understand if you're Catholic and you got offended. I can see that, especially since the Pope just died.
But if you're Catholic, don't you want a new Pope? A better one?
Well, I mean, I think they have to get a new Pope considering the last one died. But I mean, I don't think there's a choice.
Sure, well, no, fair point. Fair enough.
But so I don't know. It just I think it depends on like where people think humor draw the line. Was it too much for him to do that? Now, the Star Wars thing I thought was hilarious. I mean, I don't think how that could offend anybody.
I almost think the Star Wars thing made the Pope theme like a little lighter.
Yeah, kind of like he was saying, "Look, man, I'm just joking."
Yeah, I'm gonna do it with that. Yeah, I'm wondering today, like I said, if we'll see him as a Mexican.
Yeah,
you know?
And I kind of sympathize with him on this because I have extreme. You know how me, I have extreme humor. Sometimes I don't know where the line is.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't.
And I get it when you have that kind of personality, and I do kind of I do feel some kinship with him when it comes to that because I have that kind of sense of humor.
Yeah, let me tell you, I can say something so sweet to Sean, and I immediately, instead of him responding, I see his brain rolling with what kind of smart ass sarcastic comment can I come back with to the sweet thing that she just said to me.
Yeah.
I can look at him and see it, and I'll just say stop.
Yeah, that's
stop. Your brain needs to stop right there before you say anything.
It's true. That's the way my brain just functions, and I guess Trump's brain functions very similar. Like, he thinks of these funny things.
Did you just say you and Trump are similar?
Well, I mean, I think we have a similar sense of humor. I do. That's what I mean, because I think a lot of people on the left don't.
Did y'all hear that? He's a Trumper.
No, I'm not a Trumper. I'm just saying I think a lot of people on the left discount that he's a funny guy. Like, they just discount like that he's really funny. Like, that's his personality. And I've always said that for years. I'm like, dude, that's hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
so I think that would, draws a lot of humor, draws a lot of people. And
We need to be able to laugh. The country needs to be able to laugh.
but sometimes I guess you got to know where the line. And I'm like him. I have the problem sometimes. Sometimes I go too far with a joke, and just push it too much.
When you originally saw the meme, we were sitting in Boston and having a drink, and you saw the Pope one, and you were like, I cannot. And you were like kind of upset.
Well, when I first
yourself.
saw it, I was like, wow, this is a little too much. And then afterwards, I was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of funny too. I was kind of looking at it. I was like, I get it. I could see myself doing something stupid like this. Like I really could. So
Well, I mean, with all your cartoons you've made.
Well, yeah. I mean, my Chokeway cartoons are they're like horribly offensive, but what I'm trying to say is I could see him doing that, he didn't have evil intent. Like he wasn't trying to
But I could also see him saying, "Oh, this is gonna make the left so mad," and loving it.
I don't know if it made the left so mad as much as it made Catholics so mad. I think that's what I think it did, like religious Catholics so mad. Because I mean, that's who would be really mad about this.
Yeah, I mean, the left's mad about Trump about everything, though.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're mad too. I'm not saying that they're not mad, but I'm saying I think it was, I think he would have been worried about oh, wait a second, I don't want to piss all the Catholics off. So I mean, I'm sure it's a 24-hour news cycle. That's why he did the Star Wars thing, and maybe he pissed off people that like blue lightsabers because he was holding a red lightsaber. Right? I don't know.
Well, the more important question, Sean, is how many dolls should a kid have?
Yeah, yes. He pissed off all the children of the United States last week when he said 2 dolls. You can have 2 dolls.
But now he says 3 or 4.
Well, not 3 or 4. You can have 3 or 4 dolls. How many dolls how many dollars do your kids have?
I mean, I don't know. But 2 of my 3 youngers are boys, so we have a lot more boy toys these days than we do girl ones.
So they're not there's not all these dolls everywhere.
No.
I mean, they're like, okay. Well, so the president last week, I guess, was talking about the Chinese tariffs and said that, kids don't need 30 dolls. They can have 2, which, I was talking to my dad about that this morning. And, my dad, the notorious Trump hater, he did say this. He said, he isn't wrong about that, Sean. He's like, we have too much stuff here. He's not wrong about that.
Yeah, kids have too much.
He's really not, So.
Yeah, they don't appreciate the things that they do have because there's so much of it.
Right. Yeah, there's just too much stuff. So he's like, yeah.
But him saying that was making a point as to tariffs raising prices.
The cost of dolls, availability of them, right?
But then he says that's not going to happen. Prices aren't going to go up.
Yeah.
But if they do, it's Biden's fault.
Did hear that.
Did
hear that as well. Well, he and then he dismissed the price of strollers or something. That's made a lot of young family people mad. I don't know how much strollers cost. I've never had kids. I don't know how expensive this stuff is.
Oh, it's expensive.
Yeah, well, apparently, there's a stroller shortage because of
really?
this, and then there's gonna be a big issue with that. Again, I don't understand it because I don't know what that is. But
I think I have 2 strollers in storage. Maybe I can.
I was just listening to Breaking Points on the way here, and they said that the secondhand stroller market is gonna boom.
Oh, so it's a good thing I held on to those.
As I'm saying, you can put those on Facebook Marketplace in 3 months and make triple the price.
Oh, thanks, Trump.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
You can do that. Now, if you're a younger family, that's obviously not very beneficial. But yeah, you can make some money. Actually, I don't know. It might be worth if they're if the availability of them is down, then you can really charge $5,000 for one of them.
Yeah, mark it up. That's that's the way we do it. That's the way we do it in America, right?
Price gouge the baby strollers.
How much roses cost on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, let's supply and demand, man. Got to go with it. Well, anyway, we're up against our next break, and we'll see you next segment. Talk about our experience in Boston with
Sean becoming a conspiracy theorist.
Well, there's interesting theories that are floating around the city that we learned this weekend. So we'll see y'all in a minute.
Yeah, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Interesting theories that are floating around the city that we learned this weekend. So we'll see y'all in a minute.
Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
1039 WYAB.
At Johnny's Pizza House, we consider our customers like family, so we spend the extra time needed to put more love into making our pizza. From our dough made fresh daily to fresh, never frozen ingredients, Johnny's Pizza House takes pride in knowing that what we serve our customers isn't just pizza. It's a slice of home in every single bite. Great traditions start with great food and great people. Start your tradition today with Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
Are you looking to get stronger, fitter, and push your limits? CrossFit Fondren is where Jackson trains. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, our expert coaches and supportive community will help you crush your goals. Join us for high-intensity workouts that build strength, endurance, and confidence. No gimmicks, just real results. Try your first class today for free. Visit us at CrossFitFondren.com or stop by the gym, 3002 North Mill Street in Jackson, in the heart of Fondren.
CBS News Brief. Flights in and out of busy Newark and New Jersey are delayed again. CBS's Meg Oliver is there.
The staffing shortage that is causing all of these delays and cancellations has been building for quite a while. They need more air traffic controllers.
The administration's offering $1,000 and free airline tickets if illegal immigrants will self-deport. CBS's Nancy Cordes.
It is the latest in a string of either sticks or carrots in order to incentivize people who came to this country illegally to make a quick retreat.
Starting today, the student loan borrowers who haven't paid on time could have their wages garnished.
5 million borrowers across the country.
CBS's Lana Zak. Israel's government has reportedly approved plans to capture the entire Gaza Strip and remain in the territory for an unspecified amount of time. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
Hi, this is Rita Jensen with Remax Connection. I've been selling real estate now for well over 30 years, and I typically use Chadwick Home Inspectors. And Chad has done many, many home inspections for me.
They are pretty much from roof to foundation. Most people are surprised at just how thorough these home inspections can be. Been working with Rita almost a decade now. Very rarely does she let a deal fall apart. She can usually find a way to negotiate where both parties are satisfied.
RitaJensen.net.
Hi, folks. Kim Wade here. Mississippi Energy Services provides generators. That's right. You may not need it now, but when you need backup power, you need a backup power generator from Mississippi Energy Services. Never again have to worry about being without heat, air conditioning, or all your frozen items spoiling because your energy was lost. You got backup power now, and it's so reliable. You'll be pleased with Mississippi Energy Services. Online at msenergy.us.
Get the jump on the season at the #1 stop for all your boating and custom water sports needs, Smith Marine. Crest pontoons are here. Come experience luxury and style with a 90-day, no payment, no interest financing option with approved credit, plus a 1-year Seato membership, free cover, free Bimini top, and free inflatable tube. And these crests are pre-rigged with Suzuki motors and Suzuki's industry best warranty. Smith Marine also buys quality pre-owned boats with consignments and trade-ins on the res in Ridgeland and at smithmarinesales.com.
Come together right now.
We are back here in WYAB studios, crossing the aisle with Sean and Lindsay. Sean, the new conspiracy theorist. Sean, you want to tell them why you're now a conspiracy theorist?
I'm a conspiracy theorist now. And what she's talking about, so we were in Boston this weekend, and she has been really into this Karen Reed trial. I don't really get into criminal trials just because, well, I've just done it for so many years. It's like I'd rather watch like a Nazi sub-boat documentary or something, or whatever. Anything about the Nazis or World War II, and I'm going to watch that. But I'm not going to watch anything about criminal trials just because I've just been a part of too many of them for the last 2
you got into this one too. You watched the documentary.
I like the HBO documentary. It was really good. But I got kind of
Still
into
haven't
it,
watched
not
that.
like into it as you are, like watching it all day, and I'm not doing that.
Well,
but-
it's trial prep to help you. You
Yes.
know, this is part of my job,
Yeah, it's
Sean.
helping me. So anyway, so Lindsay's really, really into it. I know vaguely about it. It's interesting though. Y'all should check it out. It really is one of the more interesting trials I've seen in quite a while. It's got everything you want. Like there is conspiracy theories,
Corruption,
corrupt police. I mean, it's everything. So
a setup.
So, this in the Karen Reed trial involves like she was dating a guy named, was it John O'Keefe?
John O'Keefe.
And he was a Boston police officer, and they went to a late night party. He went in the house. She didn't go in the house, and she just leaves because I guess they're mad at each other, they're drunk or whatever it is, and up to a party. And then he ends up dead in the front lawn. Is that right?
Yes, dead. They found him the next morning around 6 a.m. dead in the snow out front with a lot of, there's a big gash on the back of his head. There were scratches, cuts, abrasions, whatever you want to call them, all down one side of his arm. He had one black eye. And nobody knew what happened. So because they had been so very intoxicated the night before, one of the first things that Karen says is, "Oh my gosh, could I have hit him?"
Yeah.
And she never should have said that, for sure.
Right. And they found some what was it, like the tail light on?
Well,
on it?
her tail light had been cracked, but there is camera footage of that showing her the morning after when she's going to pull out to go look for him. It shows her back into his vehicle.
Yeah.
Yet they find pieces from her tail light in his clothing, around him, supposedly. But we had a major overwhelming consensus from everyone we spoke to in Boston that we asked about this. People, I mean, old men to young girls
Yeah.
and everything in between. And they all said the same thing. She's innocent. She's being framed. She's being set up.
And they were saying it because the participants, I guess, in the party in the house were all law enforcement related.
Law enforcement officers are somehow related to law enforcement, and they all believe that this is a setup, that there was something that had gone wrong. There was some hostility between these officers and John O'Keefe. From every account that I have seen and heard and read about, he was a kind of by the book officer. I guess he didn't make special favors for people, or he didn't do this, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your thing. He was very much by the book, and evidently there's something had gone on that had made some of these other guys not so happy with him. And what everyone seems to believe is that he did go into that house, there was an altercation, and that he was put out on the lawn, maybe in hopes that someone would think a plower accidentally ran him down or something of that nature.
Right.
They didn't expect Karen Reed to show back up, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, freaking out, find him, and then kind of walk herself into this, "Oh, did I hit him?" And of course, that makes it seem like, "Oh, well, there we go. This is our perfect scapegoat here."
From what happened, yeah.
And this is all alleged. We don't know.
Exactly. And so the consensus we got from people in Boston were basically the police are corrupt, which I do know a little bit. I don't know tons, but I know a little bit about Boston police corruption history. It's quite extensive over the decades. There's an old movie called The Departed. Well, old, it's 20 years old, which was, it seems like yesterday, but it's with Jack Nicholson and Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg, and it kind of shows some of that. And then, of course, there's infamous story of Whitey Bulger and all that. And if you can all look into that. So Boston has had a history of police corruption through the decades. So, and I think the people in Boston know this. They've grown up with it their whole lives. So their first inclination is initially, yep, the police are doing something corrupt, because they just lived that there for so many years. And it's kind of it's interesting. One guy called it to us like a good old boys network, which is something we use here a lot. And so it's just so interesting to me how, somewhere as far away as Boston and Jackson, Mississippi could be like, the human beings are so similar no matter where you live.
Yeah.
There's always, allegations of corruption. When you've got a human being, you got two human beings, somebody's going to be corrupt, it's like that kind of thing. And so that's what they deal with. And it was the similarities were kind of striking. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, we asked one guy, and he said, I don't want to talk about it because I don't do political. I don't do politics.
Yeah,
and I kind of looked at Sean like, politics, this is a true crime, murder trial that I'm following. But then, it kind of added up and made sense. He was trying to say there's possibly some cover up and some police corruption involvement, and that makes it political.
Because the chief of the state police is involved. Is that right? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
You follow it. I'm asking you these questions. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different law enforcement officers that are related to that family.
Okay.
And so was the chief investigator, Proctor, who has been fired at this point because of the awful bang up job that he did.
Yeah.
And he has made some very inappropriate statements. He was saying that he hoped she would Karen Reed would kill herself, but then also made comments about her looks. She's a very attractive woman, and it just clearly inappropriate. And so he has been fired. He will be on the witness stand sometime in the next. I mean, they expect this trial to last. We're in week 3 now. They're expecting it to last several months.
I thought they said 6 to 7 weeks. Is that right?
6 to 8 weeks, I think, is what they initially said. And I don't know if they're still on time frame or on schedule for that, because we had one witness, Jim McCabe, take the stand this past week. They spent 3 days on her.
Yeah.
Almost 3 entire days. So there's a lot playing out in the courtroom. There are messages that are coming out that I think were not read in the first trial, because this trial, it's already been tried before.
Yeah.
And ended in a hung jury. But if y'all aren't following this case, you've got to go down the rabbit hole. There's a lot to explain, but there's a lot of things that don't add up.
And the greatest thing, as much as we talk about like a conspiracy theory and people around, it wasn't just, this is people in Boston telling us this. What that I told Lindsay the whole time, talking to these people, what that tells me that they're never going to get 12 jurors to agree she's guilty.
Never.
Because you've got too many people that are just conflicted. And that's the way the law is supposed to work, though. I've always said, if there is a hint of reasonable doubt, then your duty is to vote not guilty.
I mean, there's a ton of
the state has
doubt.
the burden to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. If they can't do that, then you should not be convicted. So even if there's just a little bit, and it's not what's called an unreasonable doubt, but a reasonable doubt. And everything you've told me about this case and what people in Boston were telling me about, there's a lot of reasonable doubt here.
It's a whole lot.
And
the judge even the judge is even connected to some of these people for the Commonwealth, and you can tell very much that she's biased.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the way our system of justice should always work. It should be you have to convict somebody, you have to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you don't do that, then you can't convict somebody. The state cannot convict somebody and shouldn't. So I think in this case, it's clear that I don't know whether I don't care if she's guilty or, I really don't. I mean, that's not my business. Like whether she's guilty or she's innocent, it's the state to convict you has to do that, has to perform that function. And if they can't do that, and it seems pretty clear at this point that they can't do it. And seems like the entire city of Boston is like, yep, nope, she's not guilty. So
framed.
I don't think
what's really strange too about this, Sean, I think you thought this was strange too, is that she's being tried for manslaughter and second-degree murder. Now, in the first trial, all of the jury members acquitted her on the second-degree murder charge.
Yeah.
But because I guess it was one trial and the charges were together in one trial, she's still being tried for that. So they even made the case that it was double jeopardy, took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court turned them down.
Yeah, I'm going to read that decision because I'm very confused by it. Because in Mississippi, the way it worked in every murder trial I've ever tried, whether as a prosecutor or now as a defense attorney, like if someone's charged with murder, it's for that one act, like, the one in the capital murder case you and I tried. What you can do is the state or the defense can introduce a jury instruction to find him guilty of a lesser included charge like manslaughter.
So why would you even have that charge?
Well, it wouldn't be an indictment. You can't indict somebody in Mississippi for murder and manslaughter in the same. As far as I know, I've never seen that. It seems like that's a problem to me, an obvious problem to me. But you can, during the trial, introduce, and I've done it many times, you can introduce a manslaughter instruction saying, hey, this case is not murder, but it may be manslaughter. And sometimes the state does that, and sometimes the defense does that. It just depends on the facts of the case. So, but I've never seen it where they were charged with both, and you could find them guilty of in the indictment of one or the other or both. Which
how could you be guilty of that?
I don't understand that at all. How Massachusetts law works, and that's very, very interesting to me. I'm going to actually read that opinion, and I'm glad you brought that up because I'm meaning to do that.
Yeah, read it and explain it to me because I want to understand.
I want to explain it to myself because I've just never heard of that before. So
another thing that's really strange too is that this jury is not sequestered, so they're going home every day, and we're seeing this trial play out in Mississippi on the news. I mean, we were in Boston. It was everywhere. It was the news constantly was talking about this trial. Social media is full of it. There's so many groups and pages that do nothing but discuss this all day long. How can they really expect the jurors not to consume that information when they're not in the courtroom?
Well, the way that works, and I've tried many cases with a sequestered jury before, usually the court can do that on their own. They can say, I'm surprised they didn't. Like, I would think
That's what I was asking. Like, why wouldn't they do that?
To me, it's more likely in this case, if I were the state, I'd want them sequestered and
Yeah.
their ability to access media restricted, because what's going on in the media isn't good for me as the prosecutor. Now, if I'm the defense attorney, I'm like, nope, I don't want them sequestered because I want them to read everything.
Mhm.
I want them to, because their strategy has already been to try this case in the media. That is what been Alan Jackson, who's a defense lawyer for Karen Reed. His strategy is to fight this in the media.
And it's working.
And it's worked pretty well. And he's there's been an HBO documentary already. It's constantly
There's an
on,
investigation discovery documentary.
yeah, so you want them out there. It's perfect for him. If you're him, you're like, thank God they ain't sequestered, because that means that because none of them, the jurors are not following the instructions and not.
No, I mean
they're
the
listening to it.
judge comes in every morning and asks them, were you able to go home and not form an opinion or not to read any or do any research, outside research, or see anything? And they all agree to that. But I'm just calling BS on that. If it was me, I would be going home and looking at everything I could about it.
I used to say that when I was prosecuting, like when they would dismiss him and ask him that, did you look this up on the news? No. I'm like, yeah, right.
Of course
I never
did.
believed it. I'm like,
yeah.
So I think, I think that's just human nature to go look it up.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to look, but I think again that bodes well for the defense in this case, because there's so many conspiracies, there's so many things that tangle their mind up that they can go down YouTube rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And then, so you're gonna, if you're the state of Massachusetts, or the Commonwealth is what they call themselves there, you're in a pretty bad place.
There are
right now.
YouTubers with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers and viewers who are doing 3-4 hour long lives every single night, breaking down every single day's trial. There is a ton of information out there to consume. There's no way they're not seeing it.
Oh yeah, they're checking it out. They're sitting home, they're Googling it, they're doing whatever they got to do. I'm sure that can. They can. Of course, they run the risk of getting caught doing that now, and it's hard for them to get caught. But
what do you do to them? Just kick them off the jury?
Yeah, you would put one of the alternates on. Yeah, if somebody.
So
gets
it's not
caught,
like they get in trouble.
And the alternates are checking the media.
They're doing the same thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really see a conviction in this case, and I don't think there should be, considering based on the evidence that I'm looking at in this thing. So
well, we got to take our last break, but y'all stay with us. We'll be here to wrap everything up on this Monday afternoon, right here, WIAB 103.9, Crossing the Aisle. Up on this Monday afternoon, right here, WIAB 103.9, Crossing the Aisle.
WIAB.
This copy machine has me so frustrated. I could just body slam it.
Whoa there, leave the body slamming to the pros and leave superior high-quality office tech to the experts at Advantage Business Systems, brother.
Woo! Get it!
Never body slam your copy machine again. Visit absms.com. Advantage Business Systems, laying the smackdown on bad tech.
Looking to boost productivity and morale in the office? Let Huey Magoo's bring a delicious stress-free lunch right to your workplace. Perfect for team meetings, client presentations, or just a midday pick-me-up. Hand-breaded and grilled tenders, sandwiches, and salads. They make it easy. Just pick your favorites, and they'll deliver everything right to your office. On time, no fuss, no hassle. Whether it's a working lunch, team celebration, or just because, let Huey Magoo's handle the meal, and you handle the business. Huey Magoo's. Make someone smile today.
Efficient and trouble-free payroll processing is crucial to a business's success, and a lot of businesses are struggling with it. PeopleLease, a local payroll provider, not only offers top-of-the-line software, but also provides on-demand payroll support services. With PeopleLease, you're never on your own at every step of your payroll process. PeopleLease has the expertise in managing payroll challenges and will work hard to understand your business and employees. That's what makes PeopleLease the perfect choice for you and your business. Learn more online at peoplelease.com.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's it's a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
We all make plans for the future, but car accidents, break-ins, and unexpected fires can disrupt those plans. At Shelter Insurance, our agents help design insurance plans that work for you and help protect what matters most. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
See Shelter Agent Jamie Creel for a free personal protection review.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repaired? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Pop's Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. Priced to fit your budget. At Pop's Auto, we specialize in trucks. From 4-wheel drives to diesels, our satisfied repeat buyers know Pop's has one of the largest truck inventories for any independent dealer, period. Browse Pop's inventory at popsautosalesllc.com and get pre-approved for a zero down payment with approved credit, with warranties and service contracts available. Pop's Auto Sales, your home for trucks. Highway 49 South in Florence.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in to experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Come together right now.
We are back here crossing the aisle. So, Sean, we had a good time this weekend.
Yeah, other than talking about the murder case, which Lindsay wanted to do at every stop we made.
You liked that too.
Except for, I don't think you asked anybody at Fenway Park about it. We went to 2 Red Sox games.
Because I was invested in the ball game.
Yeah, you did not ask anybody at Fenway Park. You only complained about the mayonnaise for your
They
Italian
had no
sausage.
mayonnaise. And I
I've
was like,
never
who's going to
seen
eat a
someone-
hot dog without mayonnaise?
So you're like, I've got, so I had to go on a search during Sunday's game yesterday for this mayonnaise, which I did finally find.
He found it. My hero.
Yeah, so it was because it was apparently a life
His life or death.
devastating
His life
event
or
here
death
that we couldn't find any
situation.
mayonnaise. Anyway, so we went around Boston. It's I recommend everybody do it. There's a thing called the Freedom Trail, which we stayed on a hotel right close to that, and that will take you on some of the seminal events in American history. You'll get to we had a beer across from Sam Adams' grave.
The only place you can have a cold Samuel Adams while looking at the cold Samuel Adams.
Samuel Adams. And it's amazing. It's a very small cemetery. I mean, it's I gotta give you. I'm not good at dimensions, but it's really tiny. And some of the most famous people in American history are buried in this small little space in the middle of downtown Boston, like Paul Revere, John Hancock, Samuel Adams,
Mother
James
Goose.
Otis, Mother Goose.
The
Yeah,
Boston Massacre victims. And the man that runs it stopped me to tell me how much he appreciated my Moms for Liberty
yes,
shirt.
he did. He did. He said he liked it a lot. So that part was great. Then we went to the old State House where they read the Declaration of Independence and the old North Church.
Really cool.
You know.
So we'll talk more about that. Y'all come back, be with us tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then.
See ya.